taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Genesis. Now this is the GV70, but it's going to look relatively the same regardless of the model that you're in, including different electrics, which this one is. It's the GV70 model. First thing I'm going to point out, the steering wheel is going to be a power telescoping. So just by your left knee, there's a switch there. So you can go forwards, backwards, up and down with it to create that perfect position. And one nice thing, once the position of the steering wheel saved, once your driver's seat set up and your side view mirrors, along the bottom left side, so along the door, you've got a set button and then either 1 or 2. So you could then push set and then either 1 or 2 quickly in order for it to remember your own personal settings for everything. And then one nice thing is that's even tied to your user profile in the infotainment system. So let's say inside of the infotainment system, if you are in different user profiles along the top there, so you can go to different users, you can have your seat settings, your steering wheel, etc., locked into your individual profile. But if you want to walk through on the infotainment system, you'll find that down in the description of this video. But I like this. This is nice, beautiful wheel all around. I love the interior here. The steering wheel feels premium. Love it. And it is heated. So just in your climate settings there, you can turn your heated steering wheel on or off. This is great. There is an available boost mode there as well. So as you're driving, conditions are not met because I'm parked. But when you're driving, you can stop, hit boost, and that's essentially going to unlock some additional performance in the vehicle for some added launch. Very, very nice, but it loves to drain the battery at the same time. And there are a series of other buttons that are available. So you've got this one, which is a voice command prompt. So you'd be able to do things like change songs, radio stations, you can navigate using your voice and things like that. If you're hooked up over Android or iPhone devices, whether that's over Bluetooth or Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you can do a longer press and hold, and that's going to activate either your Google or your Siri Assistant as well. There are a few individual modes there too. So this one is going to let you change between a few things. This is going to let you change between a few things, all based off of how you have it set up inside of the infotainment there. So your custom button along the bottom, you can have it reject calls, change your hand-free devices, pull up your map, and a few other options. And then you've got your mode button along the steering wheel. When you push the mode button, what is it doing? Is it jumping between? Actually, it would make sense. I want to jump between phone projection if it's available, sounds of nature. It's essentially whatever audio sources you tend to listen to. And then from there, if you wanted to also readjust them, you've got the flexibility to be able to move it up and down there as well. Pretty neat. So when you push the mode button, that's going to jump you between all of your available steering wheel modes. So that's going to jump between things like AM, FM, Sirius XM. And then this one is a custom button where you can do a few different things with it. You've got a volume rocker down there. And then there's also a tuning rocker. And one interesting thing about the tuning, so if we come into media for a second, let's go to FM. If you do just a quick press, you can jump between all of your available presets there. So you can see jumping up and down. If you do a little press and hold, that's going to act almost as this little seek button there instead. So you can seek this way if you want to. You can go up and down between all of your available presets. But honestly, your best bet, 94.9 FM.
Now listening to FM 94.9.
Just using your voice to change it instead. So there are so many different ways that you can adjust. Along the right side, you've also got this individual pages button that's going to let you jump between a few different options inside of the screen. So I'll save that one for when we actually set it up and go a little bit closer to the cluster. These ones are going to be, well, I guess these ones are going to be for the smart cruise control system. This one's a lane center or a lane follow assist. It's an amazing system. So there's a little steering wheel that pops on when this system's turned on. It goes green when the vehicle recognizes the lane markings, and it keeps you perfectly balanced in your lane as you drive. It is a really, really cool system. I love the way that it works. And then you've also got your smart cruise. So smart cruise conditions are not met just because I'm sitting here parked. But when you're in drive, you push this button in order to turn it on, and then you can go up or down in order to set your speed and then either increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. You can push there in order to temporarily pause. You can hit the brake in order to pause. You can push there to resume as well. And then there's a distance indicator. So it's how close or how far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. It's honestly such an amazing system. But if you want to see how this actually works live, you'll find a walkthrough video down in the description talking you through this process and also using that fun boost mode. Oh yeah. Another thing to point out, this thing does have paddle shifters. So paddle shifters that are not they're traditional shifters. So this one is going to essentially go into your max mode, and along the side there, it's going to update what's going on with the regen braking or the charge level. So I pedal essentially means that you're in a one pedal drive. So you really only have to worry about the accelerator. You could press the brake if you wanted to, but the second you take your foot off the accelerator, you slow down very, very rapidly. And then you go into your other levels there. So I want you to think of level 0 almost as if you're in a traditional internal combustion engine. So when you take your foot off the accelerator, there isn't really much resistance. The car's not going to really slow down. Versus when you're in your level 2, level 3, or your iPedal, it's going to slow you down very rapidly when your foot's off the accelerator. But you can easily adjust that out by using the paddle shifters there. Stick on the left-hand side is going to be for your lights. Honestly, just recommend keeping yourself in the auto mode the majority of the time, unless you want your high beams permanently locked out, because you could turn yourself into the auto high beam mode by pushing away there. And what the auto mode means is that if the vehicle recognizes it needs the high beams, it'll turn them on. If it recognizes somebody's oncoming, it's going to dim them and then bring them right back on again when it's available. But if you wanted to permanently lock your high beams on, go into the lights mode, then you can push away in order to turn your high beams on, pull towards you in order to turn them back off again. It's very straightforward. And you've got your turn signals there, which, I love this. That is so cool. So it utilizes the side-mounted cameras in order to show you what's going on right inside of the blind spot. I love it. Such a good feature. Stick on the right-hand side is going to be for your front wipers. Then you can adjust your rear wiper there as well. On top of that, when you're in your wiper mode, so the auto mode, you can adjust the intermittent speed. So there's a little selector switch there as well. So you can go up and down in order to adjust the overall speed when you're in the auto mode. And then you can just go high or low if you wanted to. You're going to pull in towards you for the front wiper fluid and push away for the rear fluid. But let's zoom into Tina a little bit there and get inside of this cluster screen. Now, one thing that I'm going to point out inside of the cluster, I love that screen, first of all, is that the cluster screen itself, like, it looks beautiful, but it's got this really neat 3D effect. It really isn't justified inside of the video, unfortunately, but it is a beautiful, beautiful system. I love it. Along the outside there, so you've got your traditional speed, so you've got your speedometer there. Along the right side, so you've got your boost, power, etc. So I want you to think of this almost like a traditional tachometer instead. So as you go to use power up, so as you're hitting the accelerator, you're going to notice this jump up very rapidly. When you take your foot off the brake, if you're in level 0, you'll notice it drop, but it won't really go into this charge area. But when you're in, let's say level 2, level 3, or the iPedal drive, you'll notice that this gauge drops down very quickly. And that's because it's trying to capture, so it's using regenerative braking in order to capture some of that brake power that you're using. So it's very straightforward there. But yeah, definitely think of that one almost like I said, a traditional tachometer instead. You've got your speedometer, your charge level along the bottom, if your parking brake is on. And then I want you to think of this bar along the very bottom, almost as if it's like your liters per 100 miles per gallon. So what fuel efficiency or battery efficiency are you currently getting? So there's a line in the very middle that you might be able to see there. And what that line indicates is what your total usage is right now. So it can go essentially from 0 up to 60. So as of right now, we're using 21.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And you can see there, that's right in the middle, so that's bang on. So you'll notice that white line might move up or it might move down, depending on how efficient or battery efficient your driving is. There's eco mode, so that's essentially which drive mode are you currently in. And there are a series of different drive modes that are available, so drive modes versus terrain modes. So there's eco mode, sport mode, comfort mode, and then you can select your own unique mode there as well. So as of right now, this is locked, so it's changing out because inside of the infotainment system, I have it locked to whatever mode that you're in. So you'll notice that these things can change around. But let's say if you love the look of the sport mode, but you want the drivability of the comfort mode, you can change that out in the cluster. I'll show you the infotainment. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But I mean, that's really the basics there. Along the very top, it's what gear are you in. So you've got park, as you go through, reverse, neutral, drive, and then so just where I'm parked, there's something in front of me there, which is why that is, and then I hit park, and it automatically throws on the parking brake for me as well. Mention there, so your little steering wheel, And that's because the lane center system is turned on. So the lane follow assist. It's a brilliant, brilliant system, like I said. Honestly, I'd recommend on the highway, very useful. You'll have to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but you can just lightly grab them and the wheel is going to turn for you around bends as necessary. Again, really, really cool system. And then you've got this little pages button there. And the pages button is going to jump you between a few different things. So you've got your basic driver assistance settings. So as you start to drive, the lanes along the side will go green, and then that'll help you keep perfectly balanced in your lane. Again, as long as you've got that centering system turned on. From there, there's also no route currently set. So let's go through and I'm going to add in an address for the map, and let's go navigation. Okay, it should take a second there. There we go.
Guidance will start now.
So it's not full map in cluster, but I mean, at the same time, having the flexibility of having this shown, I think is beneficial. So it shows there. And then one really cool thing, are you gonna be able to see it? Inside of the head-up display. I'll get to the head-up display in just a second, but it is a really, really cool system. And then pressing the button there gets you to a few other options. So you've got your tire pressure and a few other things. So you've got content, so you can show what's going to be there. Do you want to have your head-up display info there, driver assistance settings and things like that? But as you jump into additional settings there, it's going to request you to do things inside of the infotainment. But you can show there, let's see, head-up display, what do you want showing, whether or not that head-up display is turned on, yay or nay? Do you want the 3D cluster showing, yay or nay? And then you can go tire pressure, which you have to be driving for it to show up. And then there are a few different options for your info. So you've got this, which wheel is getting which amount of power, along with your current battery level, your basic drive information, and then accumulated info. So I want you to think of those as trip counters. So drive info is from the last time that the car was turned off and then turned back on again, versus your accumulated info is your total info. And then you can press and hold OK. So it's essentially pushing and holding this button in to act as your OK button. And that's going to reset everything for you instead. And I think that's the basics there. So a few other things to point out. Again, it's going to be the head-up display. So let's zoom in there a little bit. So the head-up display inside of this thing, I love it. Oh, it's so good. So you can see there, so I've got maps going. So you've got your turn-by-turn directions right in your head-up display. And then from there, whether or not that lane centering system is turned on, you've got your current vehicle speed. And then these things are going to go green when you're nice and centered in the lane as well. So again, very, very useful system. From there are a series of different things that you can do inside of the infotainment as well. So let's go through, and this is going to be specifically for a few things in the infotainment. So you see there, when you hit the driver assistance button, it's going to bring you to this screen. Brings you through a lot of different options there, but we're looking for, there we go, so unique drive mode that you can set up. So if you wanted to set up your own unique drive mode, braking options, things like that, and then head-up display. So whether or not the head-up display is enabled, disabled, you can adjust a few different things as well. So you can adjust the height if you want to. You can adjust the rotation and then also the screen brightness. I typically recommend keeping the screen brightness at the maximum level because as you kind of adjust it down, it does make it a bit more challenging to see. But you will notice with sunglasses also that it is very challenging to see the head-up display. But you can adjust a few different things, like I said, the height, a few other things. It's kind of neat. So just based off of your own height. And then what information do you want showing there? So your radio media information, turn-by-turn directions, blind spot information, and things like that. And then there's also cluster information. So in your cluster screen, what information do you want showing up there as well? So you've got illumination, so you can adjust the brightness or have it in an auto brightness mode. So it's automatically going to adjust depending on how bright it is outside. And then what info do you want? So linking to drive mode. That's where I was mentioning earlier. So as you go to different drive modes, it's going to change up the cluster screen, or you can permanently lock it out to one of the other modes instead. So if you like the look of one of the other modes, you can adjust it. You can also have your 3D depth, whether or not that one's showing, or just your base screen instead. The 3D depth, like I said, on the camera, it doesn't show, but it looks so good in person. Reset your energy, and then what info do you want showing inside of your cluster screen? Do you want your wiper light showing, blind spot view monitor, road warnings, and things like that? And then do you want to playing a welcome sound when you first turn your vehicle on? So there's a lot of information there, but that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Genesis GV70 and other Genesis vehicles.